second, guys, because I just like to hear how you guys were running with this thing. But did you know, under any circumstance, that due process, good cause, or any other administrative like techniques that you folks say, well, I got due process. Do you know that any time all those due processes can be suspended if the judge feels it's necessary and proper in the best interest of justice? He doesn't have to abide by any standard of judicial practice.
No, I knew that. I mean, I knew that from Ralph Winterwood's show and before that as well.
Well, what I'm saying is, so when you're saying, well, I'm going to attack them for due process errors, the judge will say, look, when the case was before me at this time, in the best interest of justice, I made the ruling which I did. I'm sorry that you believe I suspended due process. I'm sorry of all this nonsense that you guys believe in, that you believe is true. But I'm here as the judge. I'm playing God here, and I'm doing what I believe is in the best interest of justice. So if you Google best interest of justice, you'll see that's basically the get-out-of-jail-free card for every judge for making any procedural error that you don't like. You're like, wait a second.
And this is even though he was brought in that suit that she made against DSS. He was also a defendant in that. Yet he will also try to administer subsequent court hearings with her, in spite of the fact that there's an obvious conflict of interest.
Because if you folks look at what's going on here, you're diminishing the capacity of this woman standing into being considered a subject to that authority of that court. She had no time ever challenged jurisdiction. And all jurisdiction means is what?
That they don't have the discretion.
No, something simpler. It's the 10th Amendment. Jurisdiction is the 10th Amendment. The power to control another man. That's jurisdiction. Where do you have that power? Where do you derive that source of power to control another man? That's jurisdiction. Did she ever say, where do you derive that power? Where did your power derive from? In which you can control me and my property, my child, to appear here today and answer to anything that you want to ask us. Where do you derive that power and authority to administrate my property without my consent? I claim that child is proper to my person, John Locke. I claim that it's all mine, and if any man wants to come forth and make a claim, let them come forth now. A government cannot come forth and make a claim. They cannot. A man can only make a claim. The government
they can make a complaint, but they cannot make a claim.
The government makes criminal complaints against you. They do not make criminal claims against you because they don't have the capacity, standing, or status of man to make claims, because they're not going to be held fully liable for perjury or causing harm. They're going to say, well, I'm an attorney, I'm making a complaint, and just because you won the case doesn't mean you can sue me, because you can't sue me because I got immunity, because or sue my bond or go after my insurance. When you do wrong, you're going to jail. You're going to presume and assume all liabilities for your acts. The attorneys and the government officials and the government agents don't want to presume and assume all liabilities for their acts. So they can only make complaints. They can't make claims. That's what complaints are such an amazing word. This woman never just came to court and just said, I am the woman known as, Sally Johnson. And then I say, Baby Johnson is my property. Because what's property? John Locke, what's property? All that I claim is proper to my person, that I have exclusive rights to control and enjoy, exclusive of all others in society. There you go. Because even my wife knew that in 2001 when I looked across the table when I was dealing with social service people. I said to my wife, I said, I'm your property, right? And she said, absolutely. And I said to the people, she's my property. And they go, oh, that's a horrible thing to say about your wife, that she's your property. I said, honey, do we have an agreement that I'm yours and you have the right to exclusively enjoy me and claim me as yours and yours alone, and that no other woman or man can make a claim of me and enjoy me without your consent? And she said, absolutely. I said to the women in the DHL and social service people, I said, that's property. And my rights are my property. My child is my property. Does anybody have the right to take my property from me, let them come forward now in a common law court, in a district court, in front of a jury, and convince a jury that I'm holding my baby, my property, unlawfully, that baby really belongs to somebody else. Come forward and make that claim, or forever hold your peace. That's how fast a common law trial by jury lasts. 2 seconds. It doesn't take years. It doesn't take months. It doesn't take anything. If you folks don't know how to just make a simple claim for that woman that you're trying to help in a local district court, not family court, just go to any local district court down there and saying somebody's holding my property without a proper claim, without right. They're administrating my property without right, and I demand that property be returned. And for every day that my property isn't returned, I'm going to charge you $1,000 a day, starting right now. And there you go. This is how simple my process is. Now, you guys could use all these big fancy things and try to do, due process was violated, cause. Look, the judge is going to just throw it the old, hey, well, in the best interest of justice, I thought it was necessary and proper. This is the best interest of the child that I made the ruling this way. Appeal me if you want.
The judge might, if he were honest, might say public policy.
He could give you whatever. But when it comes to a common law claim, the man in the black robe, everybody knows, is independent of the tribunal. It's me making my claim before the jury, and the other guy who's making the claim for my property is standing to my right. So the guy on the right of me is making a claim for my property. I'm on the left. I'm prosecuting the claim. I'm standing on the left, and we're pleading our heart out, begging the jury. We don't beg the guy in the black robe. We're not pleading our heart out. We don't make a pleading to the guy in the black robe. We plead our hearts out to the jury.
Because the guy in the black robe is irrelevant.
He's independent of what's going on in the trial by jury.
Yep.
That's why you want a trial by jury. And I guarantee family courts say, we don't do trial by juries. That's right. Not under your administrative codes. We don't. But do I have that right reserved to me as a man or woman in this country, in this nation? Yes. Article 6 and Article 7 of the Bill of Rights clearly stipulates that criminal procedures, I have the right to trial by jury. In a civil procedure, I have the right by a trial by jury. Well, the 7th Amendment, 7th Article of the Bill of Rights actually says if there's a matter of controversy exceeding over $20, that I can move a court of record under the common law to have that matter before trial by jury. So I believe my child is worth more than $20. Now, if I criminally did something wrong to my child, I still have the right to bring it before a jury. But if you folks don't do the Billy Thornton thing and understand that as a defendant you have no rights because as a defendant you're called a debtor, and a debtor is a slave to the creditor, you have no rights. You have no standing. You have no voice in these family court proceedings because you're playing the slave. Play the slave. You'll never get nowhere until you learn how to flip it around and be the claimant in just a local district court filing a claim that somebody stole your property, stole your lawnmower, stole your bicycle, stole your child. Just make your claim and just get it before a trial by jury and let the jury determine it.
In common law.
And that's what I showed the Angela show months ago. I showed you guys, go to uscourts.gov, go to the 4th page, about 3/4 of the way down, all state courts are common law courts. So nobody can tell you state courts aren't common law courts because you go to the evil empire, the United States, the evil person, the evil corporate fictional entity called the United States Courts.gov, and even the United States admits that all state courts are common law courts. There you go. You take your claim into a common law court. Any state court is a common law court. You make your claim. Say, I want my property returned. You stole my property. That's my property. I claim it's property on my person. I want them returned. Simple. Anybody tries to interfere with your right by trial by jury, you explain to them that they're going to hold them personally liable. And when if a Supreme Court case ruled that the clerk of the court gives you a hard time, you have to talk to the head judge of that court because the court is split into 2 offices. You got the clerk of the court's office, which is independent of the judges. You have to make both parties aware before you go on and turn around and sue that district court for interfering with your rights. You got to give the clerk of the court fair warning that she's interfering with your rights to file paperwork, and then you got to give it to her boss, which is the chief judge of that court.
Yeah, but what if they just claim immunity and say you can't sue them or you can't make a claim against them or whatever they do?
Well, what's funny is, as we went on a website the other day, and for the federal courts, and I found their insurance policies that said if they get sued because they interfered with somebody's common law rights, statutory rights, or hang on a second, somebody was I found it, called professional liability. The professional. Somebody's got making dinner or something. It's called the Professional Liability Insurance Reimbursement Plan. Okay, this is for the district courts, and it says the justification of why you need a professional liability insurance reimbursement plan. It says United States district courts recognize that their employees in certain classes or positions are more vulnerable to litigation that challenges the employee's liability for job-related activities. And then it gives you a whole list of employees that can file a claim for reimbursement after they've been sued and been lost to somebody like me. It says the clerk of the courts, probation officers, bankruptcy administrators, deputy chief probation officers, pretrial service officers, financial administrators, assistant financial administrators, system managers, human resource managers, the jury administrators could be sued, and case administrators, supervisors could be sued. So all these people, if I want to sue these people, obviously there's an insurance policy that indemnifies them for loss after they've interfered with somebody's rights. And when you go down a little bit further in the policy, it says, definition of professional liability insurance. Professional liability insurance is insurance that provides coverage for legal liability for damages due to injuries to other persons or damage to their property or other damages or losses to other persons resulting from or arising out of any tortuous act, error, or admission of the covered individuals, whether under the common law, statutory, or constitutional, while in the performance of such individuals' duties as a qualified employee of the district court. So, why do they have insurance policies? And it goes on and says, look, if you don't believe that our insurance policy indemnifies you because your property is worth so much money, feel free to go out and get a private carrier to insure you, to indemnify you, but please don't. If you find a private carrier, do not try to sell it to other district court employees during business hours. Please do it on your off time. Do not sell insurance policies while we're conducting business from 9 to 5. Do it on your own time. So why would they pass this out to all their district court probation officers, clerks of the courts, that says if you commit an error or a torturous act, which means you deliberately went out and interfered with somebody's constitutional, common law, or statutory rights? Why would they feel that they need to provide insurance coverage? Because they're going to be sued. If there's no way you could sue them, why are they providing insurance coverage? Why are you buying insurance coverage that a rainbow purple ponies are going to fall on your house? Why would anybody buy insurance that you'd feel like that's ridiculous? That's never going to happen. Well, why are they providing insurance coverage to their federal district court employees if it can never happen? Obviously it can. Because you can't sue the office, like you can't sue the office of the governor. The way it's written into the constitutions is a beautiful, wonderful thing. You sue the evil man that puts on the governor's hat that day and goes out and says, I'm going to shoot all the homeless in my state because I'm the supreme law of the state according to the Constitution. Yeah, well, he still can't cause harm to another man. He still has a duty and responsibility to any other man. That's all those Nuremberg trial things. Just because the German soldiers said, well, Hitler made a law and we had to kill all these women and children, you still know your duty and responsibility to your fellow man of mankind. You still know your obligations. Regardless of what somebody else tells you, you're going to jump off the bridge? Well, if there's a law that says you got to throw your mama from the train, are you going to do it? Well, no. But if it says throw the Jew from the train, are you going to do it? Well, yeah. You can't do it. It can't be done. And that's why they all got killed, is they learned a lesson the hard way. You got to treat your fellow man the same way you want to be treated. Just because somebody thinks they're the supreme above somebody else in this land, nobody's supreme. Nobody's above anybody in this land. All men are equal in this land. Nobody could cause you harm. And if they interfere with your, it says constitutional rights, common law rights, or statutory rights, and you're going to be sued. People are going to, you could, after you've been sued and you lost, you could file a claim with us, and we'll reimburse you for whatever the guy sued you and won. Now, you can sue him. That's lawyers just telling you, oh, you can't sue the judge, you can't sue the clerk, or you can't sue the governor, or you can't sue the governor.
No, I thought I read that on one of your documents, where something that you had filed somewhere that they were immune. And Or you're trying to sue the state or something?
If you try to, what I'm saying is, if you try to sue the state, what aspect of the state are you trying to sue? All the people that take within that territory? Are you trying to sue the state, which is the land and the trees and the rocks? What part? There's so many different issues.
Who are you trying to sue?
But if you would sue something, you would sue the government of the state, because those people could be held liable as the government of the state. The government employees, you're suing them. You're suing the government of the state of Alabama. You're not suing the state of Alabama, you're suing the government of the state of Alabama. And then you're going after that agency, like I'm going to sue the DHR, the CPS, what you folks call it, DSS. I'm suing them. They're a branch, they are an instrumentality of the executive branch of the government of the state of Alabama, the person known as the state of Alabama. So there you go.